Okay.
Let's get this recorded. Hello, one and all, and welcome to episode 14 of the Contest Realm podcast. As you all know, you'll find us on YouTube. We have a special playlist, SoundCloud, Spotify, and iTunes. And this is a very, not a weird one, but it's a misplaced one. So basically, this episode is being recorded on a Thursday, as the weekend is a very busy time for most people, and as well gives us an opportunity, me, to kind of deal with some personal matters I must attend to. So yeah, it's really weird as well, because we know information which is going to be dropping on Friday, but we're going to be kind of back to futuring this by talking about the stuff in the past tense or the future tense. Basically, there's stuff going on, as well as a lot of discussions we're going to talk about, like the Morningstar situation, Riffs returning for the new event next month, Kabam pulling out of NYCC, Act 7 beta, as well as the Sticky Key, and potentially arena death matches as well. So, lots to go over in this kind of newsy edition. And as always, I'm joined by my handsome and glamorous co-host, which is Mr. Dan of Frontline MCOC. Hello, sir.
Hey, Rich. How are we doing?
I think we're doing good. We're still in lockdown, but we're keeping spirits as high as possible. I know, obviously, with your industry, it's not so easy to do so, but we're doing our best, aren't we?
Yeah. Now, I've got to ask, because I have let the beard go. Just full pandemic, like not shaving. How is that signature RichTheMan hair? Is it getting its proper care? Are you letting things go wild? The people need to know.
I've run out of my special product, which allows me to gain a kind of sculpted coif. So I showered and did my hair yesterday, and it will last me for about 4 days before looking like a weird mess. So it's kind of, at the moment, it's going close to Jimmy Neutron, and I need to try and find a stockist that's able to send me some more of the product. But it's a product, if anybody's interested. I have had questions about this before. It is a sea salt fudge that you put in whilst you're drying your hair, and it gives it makes it appear more thicker. It appears to make it more strengthened, and you can just go for about 4 days without having to style it or put any more product in it. For anybody that cares.
Sea salt fudge. That is incredibly fancy.
I know. I feel that now people have kind of like got a little kind of more information about my grooming routine.
That is an insight. That is a personal insight.
Yeah. God.
Well, shall we get into the MCOC, because there is a lot to talk about.
Yeah, there is a hell of a lot to talk about. We say that every week, but it is true, unless we're doing a special interview.
This is a big one.
Yeah. So we're going to kick things off by talking about the Morningstar / sort of clairvoyant regen thing when it comes to the champion interaction of 6.2.6. And obviously, there's just so much here to go over, and it all starts back in early April, where somebody on the forums decided to let Kabam know of a potential bug, which at the time, I think it was Kabam Zibit didn't really kind of think, okay, I can bring it to the game team, as I bring everything to the game team.
All right, that's the standard response. Okay, going over to the game team.
Yep, all was quiet until I think it was the 20th of April, or kind of like 21st, 22nd, and then Kabam Mike said, oh yes, this is a bug, and let's just say shit hit the fan.
It did. Well, I think it's partially they had fixed clairvoyant already, right? So, but I think people didn't realize in the patch notes what that would do.
Yeah.
Because it's very innocuous in the patch notes. It's like, oh yeah, we fixed it so that clairvoyant can't health steal, when no damage is being dealt. And you look at it, it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And then you find out, oh well, that impacts the champion fight. And now that's the same thing with the Morningstar interaction, that Morningstar has this 20% chance to health steal 50% of the damage dealt when she's ramped up, right?
Yeah.
And that's one of the key features of Morningstar. I'm a Morningstar player. I just took my 6-star Morningstar to rank 2. That's so I'm invested in this, and if you've been following my progress, I am working my way through Act 6.2. and I haven't got to the champion yet, but I'm almost there.
Yeah.
So I am invested, right? Like Morningstar is going to be my option. So I just want that out there as just information is where I'm coming from. But yeah, so they're changing Morningstar. They're not changing Morningstar. Morningstar is still functioning exactly the way that you would read her description. What they are doing is they're fixing the bug that was allowing her to health steal from the champion while he's indestructible. And I don't see any argument that tells me that this is not a bug. Now, there's a lot of noise around that. We can talk about that, but at its core, a bug is a bug is a bug, and this is definitely a bug. This is, you read a sentence and then something to the opposite effect of that sentence is happening in game. It's a bug.
I think for us, we both agree on the fact that the champion fight, for all intents and purposes, is a very unfair fight, which I think Kabam have even, well, not sort of, but the way they worded it, I think going into finishing Act 6, there was a message that said something about learning our lessons from mistakes made in previous acts in Act 6.2. Now, the thing that gets me, and with the fairness side of things, is there's no retreat. No retreat, I think, is one of the things that make having a little bit of a, well, it's Morningstar, a fair kind of thing to kind of gather back huge amounts of regen. Against the bug side of things, no, but I don't know. I feel that it'd be nice to keep something as a fair interaction for the player base when it comes to such a just disgusting fight with the champion.
I mean, it's a hard fight anyway, and then you add no retreat, which is one of my least favorite nodes in the game. I don't like that node. I think we all have nodes or counters in the game that just really hurt our individual play style.
Yeah. And
for me, no retreat, it just really, really throws me off of my game. So I don't like that. So I understand the champion fight is hard enough as it is.
Yeah.
And this is going to make it harder for some people. And there are people that were planning on using Morningstar for this fight. Now, the good news is they haven't fixed it yet. And we have the May release notes, which we're going to be talking about a little later. And this bug fix is not in there.
Yeah.
So at a minimum, it's not going to be in the game until the June update, which gives you, as of right now, 5 weeks with Morningstar still bugged.
Yeah.
So if you're close, and let's be honest, if you're ranking up your Morningstar for this fight, you're probably pretty close. You do have 5 weeks right now, so it's not like they saw the bug and could snap their fingers and done deal, it was over. You're getting a lot of warning about this one.
So that gives you opportunity, as Dan said, to do that fight. The fight itself, the thing that concerns me with I've still not done the interaction where no retreat would be on at the given time. When I did do the fight, I found that the consistency with trying to get a dexterity to obviously trigger off a prowess was my biggest limitation. Now, I could say that a lot of time it's down to a bit of my playing style. Maybe it's a case I need to kind of concentrate more to swipe back when I see the head going down from the champion. Say the SP one comes in, head goes down, and then the point in time to then get away. My issue was when I was using Dr. Doom was down to timing, to a point where I was evading away in certain sections when he was performing the L1. So like partway through the I was swiping in as he was doing rather than staying in block and then swiping back at the last minute, I was swiping in and then swiping back in certain parts of the animation, as opposed to obviously the normal way that a lot of players do, where they stay in the block and then swipe back. So that's still like a constant concern for me when I was to go back into it. And as well, the amount of damage that you take through the blocks. Obviously, I sympathise with people that maybe not at stage now to do that Morningstar fight, and maybe a case it's like use Morningstar. It may be further down the line that they would go, I'm ready. So Yeah, it's not too great.
Another reason why Morningstar is important is because she also has a perfect block percentage.
Yes.
So you've got that. It's the whole argument for why Morningstar is so great in the current situation is because she has health steal and perfect block. Like those are the two things that are going to keep you alive. So clear. I mean, there's no faulting the player base for wanting them, especially in a fight that's already as difficult as it is. I'm interested. Did you try to dex the special 2, or you've just been trying to dex the special 1?
I did both. I did on my video when I was kind of showing why I was making a mistake with the dexterity triggering up prowess. I did 4 of the prowess were from SP1s, and the last one was from the SP2. But I was finding the champion was throwing the SP1 more commonly than the SP2.
Interesting, because doesn't he have the node where he's supposed to throw the SP2 more?
Yeah, that was the weird thing about it. I found
he doesn't care.
Yeah, he just doesn't care. Just it's just to kind of like wind me up.
Well, maybe once they fix the other champion bug next month, which is. Did you see this? Fixed an issue where his ponytail would stick straight out behind him during his victory animation. Maybe once that's sorted and Champion's precious hair is back where it's supposed to be, he'll be a little bit more friendly.
Yeah, maybe it's that flick, that hair bun flick that we've got the problem with. Just imagine that.
If you had that braid, you'd care about it too.
Yeah, well, not if a strand of hair was the reason that I wasn't building any prowess buffs, I must admit.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a tough situation. I do think at the end of the day, it's a bug. We need them to fix bugs. My feeling is, I know we get worked up on this a lot, but bugs in and of themselves are agnostic, right? Like, a bug doesn't know whether it's going to be favoring the player or favoring the defender, right? Now, we all complain a lot when there's bugs that hurt us and are in the game, right? We complain about that a lot, as we should. But we can't turn around and complain too much when they're going to fix a bug that doesn't help us, because the bottom line is the less bugs in the game, the more stable the game is. And that's what we all want. So I think I certainly get the frustration. Like I said, there is a lot of narrative around that fight and context around that fight that is worth discussing about. But I don't think there's any argument for them leaving something in the game that's clearly a bug. Like, and the other thing is they have left stuff in that's helped us before, like the feeling green event recently, right? Like that was not supposed to happen, and they left it in. When there was the boss rush and we got double rewards, that wasn't the plan, but they, we got to be honest with ourselves. They have left stuff in from a reward situation that was a bug that has helped us before too. So it's, I get it. It's a tough fight. People are frustrated in the world right now. But let's just take a step back and ask, like, what do we really want? At the end of the day, we'd rather have a bug-free game, and that's always the goal. And they'll probably never get to that because the game's too complex. But I'd prefer they get out as many bugs as they can.
Yeah, well, we'll just have to kind of like see what I really would hope that Kabam would put in a champion in the future that would have this like super ideal interaction with the champion. Like I think everybody can get down the champion very easily to that 10%. But having in a certain champion that, I don't know, has some kind of mechanic built into it where it's able to
it's pretty close.
Yeah,
because you've got healing on block, and you've got a slow debuff.
Yeah.
So maybe she's not perfect, but she's pretty clearly geared to be able to handle that fight.
Yeah, and as long as Kabam identify that and start creating more of these champions,
right?
It's a bit of kind of like. a difficult one to go, right, well, you know, that means that you've got to go for all these new champions. It's a case of like, well, you know, Kabam, they've got to learn from their mistakes. And obviously that was one key mistake.
Right. I mean, I'd rather them fix the mistake. If the fix is putting in a real counter towards it, I'd rather them do that than just leave it the way it is.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
You know, it's like the same thing. It's like, are we really mad that they put Aegon in the game and made Labyrinth of Legends a cakewalk? Like, no one's mad about that.
Oh, and by the way,
no one's like, oh, I can't believe I had to go get Aegon. That was terrible.
Oh, all that time. I mean, I'm still on that kind of like drive at the moment. On Monday, I go for 7 chances to try and get him out of a basic, and then maybe awaken the 6-star version. Who knows? That may or may not happen. And that will be something that we've got to talk about in a minute that could benefit you if you want to awaken the most sought after champions in your roster. But first and foremost, moving on to 27.0, isn't it?
We're moving up. We're leveling up to 27. Can you believe that? 27?
Yeah, it seems like yesterday we were only on 12.0, and the less said about that, the better.
Sticks in your brain, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. I remember that time. To a point where I think a gaming news agency put out a news article about the what was it? What did we call it? Not backlash. It was called. What did we call it?
Was it a boycott?
Boycott. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, so long since we've kind of like we've had to do one of those. But yeah, that was really weird because they posted an article saying that they had Seaton's video, and then they had like my GIF of Abraham Simpson walking in to 12.0 and walking straight out again. Shout out to people that remember the Maison Derriere of the Simpsons. Anyway, right, moving on. And we're talking
Tasty
about
memes, Rich.
Absolutely. 27.0. And we're going to see something that is in keeping, obviously, close to the film. I don't think this is going to be following what goes on in the film. From what I've read, I don't know if you've read anything different, Dan, that you kind of get the impression that they're spoiling any of the film.
Yeah, I think they try to stay away with that. I think the best way to look at it is characters inspired by the film, rather than them trying to adhere to a plot line within their own game that matches up with the movie. So I wouldn't worry about spoilers.
No,
but it seems like they're just sort of inspired by the facts, like, okay, well, she's a double agent, and double agents have targets.
Yeah.
Or whatever, secret agents have targets. Yeah.
Yeah, they mentioned stuff like they're talking about the Cabal. They're talking about they skip over a lot of elements in the story. It seems to be like more focused on what Black Widow and Agent Romanoff. I'm still unsure. Like reading some of the notes that we've been given, and obviously by the time the podcast comes out, people will know what the new Black Widow is called. Whether or not it's called the Deadly Origin version, is it called Natasha Romanoff? Is it called Black Widow? And the other Black Widow is now going to be called a classic version. Yeah,
I don't know. It looks like Deadly Origin.
Yeah.
In the release notes, but we'll have to see what it looks like in game. I mean, there is a history of changing this with Captain Marvel movies. So
yeah.
You never know.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about these kind of like creating classics with them, but I'm putting classic in the title. But I guess it's where Kabam want to go with this, and obviously they.
Yeah.
It's their game at the end of the day, whether I kind of moan and whinge. But in any case, right. So next month's event is going to be sort of similar to stuff that you've seen in the past, but there will be a twist. So each day you'll be assigned a target and a special objective that is in possession of a special key card, and then it's like got this kind of Mission Impossible type vibe to it. But it'll be up to us to discover the identity of the target. And I don't know how I read this and how it may seem. It sounds like a scavenger hunt, or is going to say like man with shield, super soldier serum, is in the science class, and you have to fight a Captain America, and obviously that's the clue.
Yeah.
What do you think when you read this?
That's how I read it. That's how I read it. My big question is the target going to be game wide or randomized from a pool of choices on a per player basis?
Yeah.
If it's everybody, then everyone would just, oh yeah, this is the target for today. Go get them. But they could randomize it. I mean, our solo objectives are random, right?
Yeah.
So it could just be a pool and randomized from there. I don't know. We're gonna have to find out. But yeah, that's the way I read it. Is we're gonna get some sort of a riddle or clue, and then we're gonna have to put on our thinking caps and sleuth it out. And it'll be interesting to see how easy they are, or if some of them are like just really obscure bits of nerdy lore.
Yeah. I don't know if this then puts more value into something like the dual credits and not dual skirmishes, because it's like that's back in the day. But it would be it would be cool to kind of revisit it. Just imagine like every Marvel Contest of Champions YouTuber video starts off and hello everybody, and the start of today, just to let you know, if you go to fight this one, that's your target for today. Like every single day, every video starts with that kind of thing. Or you're having to do about 30 posts, 30 extra posts on the site.
Here's today's list. Go get them.
Go get them. Go get those targets. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. That sounds like it's different.
It's different. It could be. We'll have to see if it's fun or not.
Yeah.
It could be. It could be really cool. And then of course, it's gonna be all right. Well, how do we? How easy is it to find that? There's going to be people like, okay, well, there's a man thing that's the second fight on this lane, and it's Act 6.2.2 or something. It's like going to be something like that.
Oh, don't!
People are going to want to find that.
When I did my objectives video at the start of, I think it was like 2-3 days in, like going, okay, here's all the objectives for like all the sides. I think it was the case I wasted like half a day. I say wasted because. Even though I put mine, actually no, I was going to say to myself like, oh no, I didn't, obviously, because I got it in the video of like typed notes. I typed some notes and then lost them for the video I created. So like where to go for each kind of fight, and obviously it's going to be a case that I'll have to then do another thing, and then add it to that. But I was thinking to myself, oh, why did I say wasted? Because I think I deleted the objectives guide, but luckily I actually sent it to somebody.
Nice.
Now I can then go back and refer to it. And also, as a result of that, I created a write-up section in my Discord. So it's a case when I've done a video, there's a write-up that I'm gonna do. This is why it's an advantage for you, Dan, because you're still doing the smart thing of going like, right, I'm gonna create something for the website. By the way, links in the description and the bio for Frontline at MCOC. So you then have the video that you do at a later date. So you're kind of having both there available. So that's good.
That's kind of how I like to. I'm getting more into incorporating the video guides with the written guides. I'm having a lot of fun with that. So yeah, and I think I think you're right. I think there's going to be a lot of lists of like, all right, there's going to be a lot of people looking around those maps, right, to find, all right, well, who's the first fight in this quest? Who's the first fight in that quest? And just compiling all that information so they're ready to go once they figure out the target. So now, assuming you actually identify your target and take them out, you're going to gain a key card, and that key card is going to allow entry into one of our favorite things, and that is riffs.
Yeah, haven't seen them since June 2019, and I really hated them after that because I was like... I think I had 2 opportunities at a skill awakening gem, which I was like, okay, this is going to be good. I might actually pick up something down the line. It could be Aegon related.
Right.
Flash forward about, I think it was 8 months for me to get my first ever 5-star Aegon. And obviously now I want them. I was like, I'm done with Rifts. I don't want them to ever come back. But they're back. However, there is a slight twist in this one, isn't there?
There is something called a dimensional chronometer, which for the first time ever will allow you to choose your own reward in a rift once throughout the entire month. So one time you're going to be able to avoid the lottery ticket and decide which prize you want. And if there's awakening gems in there, that is a pretty valuable choice to have.
Yeah, I've had to reread this so many times because I'm like, no, this can't be correct. I mean, obviously it's one time you'll be able to do this, so obviously, and hopefully you're able to pick up the dimensional chronometer before you go in. And I would say that, again, I don't know, it's just speculation, obviously, until we get this event in, that you would go, right, well, providing you can get it on the first day or the first couple of days, do not go into a Rift quest until you have one of these, because it could be a case the first time you go in and go like, oh, I'm about to do a Rift. Oh, that's the awakening gem I need, or that's what I need there. And then you go, well, I don't have this dimensional chronometer. You're going to have which will change your roster by that single champion being awakened. Then you're going to have to go, let's just get this done first, or let's wait and then go in later on with that. But like I said, speculation will wait until this event comes in. But I tell you
exactly how it functions. But that looks pretty cool, because the one knock on Rifts is they usually have great rewards, but there's a big RNG element to it. I mean, if you get lucky, and I think I pulled 2 awakening gems the last time they were Rifts, so I was like, Rifts are great. Do Rifts every month, right? But there's a lot of people that didn't hit the RNG lottery, right? So this is going to allow you to smooth that out a little bit, it looks like. So I think if it works the way that it looks like it's going to work, it's a solid addition.
Yeah, I assume that then when it talks about Intel, it's like what is it called? Like Coral, Atlantean Coral of last year.
So that's going to be the currency?
Yeah.
Intel's going to be the currency? That makes sense.
Yeah, and I suppose we get this from doing... Maybe it's the special objectives that you get. I don't know. It's like
we'll have to see. There's just not enough information. We just know the sort of the skeleton of what's going to happen, but we don't really know the specific structure.
Yeah, and obviously, just to reiterate, we're recording this on a Thursday, so it's a case of this. We've been given release notes for the CCP. It's not extensive as I maybe would have hoped. And it's going to give you a bit of an idea as the audience what to expect from it. But I can imagine over in the next couple of days that you'll be gathering the information more, and as well a breakdown of what's in the rewards for the rifts, maybe how the dimensional chronometer works. We're actually saying it differently. I say chronometer, and you say chronometer. Chronometer?
Chronometer, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's just me, kind of like the way I pronounce things. I had to get over, I think it was a long string of videos where people would... First of all, I said Annihilus to begin with wrong. I said Heimdall wrong to people. Although I must point out the old Norwegian and old Scandinavian to say Heimdall is Hemdale. But obviously I put a bit more kind of like Scandinavian accent on it. But yeah, the people get really kind of like triggered about my pronunciation. It's really weird. I mean, for a long time, I would say, instead of saying beta, I would say beta. But I'll have people correct me.
The nerds want you to be precise, Rich.
Oh, they do with my.
They do
with my chronometer.
I mean, that one, who knows? I think that's just a American versus British thing.
Oh, Dan, most of my watchers and listeners and our listeners are American, so I think that it's very important to follow suit. I was looking at the algorithm for who kind of listens, and it's primarily United States. Then I think it's Canada. Then I think it's UK, and then Singapore. So hello, Singapore.
Hello, Singapore. Yes. That's interesting, because when I look at like my website and the countries, US big lead, but UK is actually number 2, then Canada, then India, and Australia is number 3 for me.
Oh, yeah.
So
India as well.
But Singapore is in the top 10.
Yeah.
And I'm doing all right down in Brazil and Malaysia too.
Nice. I think so. I love
this.
Yeah,
we're going worldwide.
Yeah, I love that. And
yeah,
talking of worldwide, or kind of bringing things to America, a bit of a sad thing to report.
I know we're not going to get to hang out this year.
No, this is kind of sad, but obviously it's.
I'm bummed, reasons. But I mean, what are we gonna do, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It is what it is. It's no surprise that Kabam did have to pull out of New York Comic Con in 2020.
It would be surprising if New York Comic Con goes ahead.
It would be very surprising. If you haven't been to New York Comic Con, it's amazing, but I can't imagine a scenario with less social distancing.
Yeah.
You know, like that Javits Center is enormous and it is packed.
Yeah.
And when that thing gets going, especially between like noon and 3, it is all you can do to be able to move.
Yeah.
It's insane.
I would say you get about 30 minutes of what is 30 minutes at the start of the day, probably when it opens at 10, probably about to 10:30, and then you get this ample room and you can do things like dance, swing your arms around, and then you turn into a sardine between the hours of 10:30 a.m. and it's only until about like 3 p.m. that it starts going spacious, and you're like looking around going like, oh my god, there's space. The floor's messy.
It messes with your head because there's certain times where you get in an aisle and you just get swept along with where people are going. Yeah. You know, it's insane. But unfortunately, Kabam did have to pull out. It's totally understandable that they didn't want to commit at this juncture. I mean, when you look at the booth, never mind how much the booth space costs. I mean, that must have cost them 5 figures to build that booth last year, probably high 5 figures. I mean, with that giant maestro statue and the size of the booth and the layout and all the staff that they have to fly out. I mean, this is a major marketing expense for them to go out there, and I can understand why they are tentative to commit to that, especially when the Javits Center is a hospital right now.
Oh yeah. If
we have no idea when it's gonna go back to normal.
Yeah, if you've seen any of the images on Twitter, it's a case that first of all, a lot of these big hospitals that they've created in like sports centers and convention centers.
Right.
It was very very quiet. Like even in the UK as well as obviously US with yourself, Dan. I haven't seen like okay, have these been used? I think I saw like President Trump. It's weird to say that. President Trump say something along the lines of like, oh, they've not really been used, and then I've seen like pictures and photos of people within Javits Center being treated. So they're being extensively used, and if the pandemic is not slowed down as quick as we'd hope it to, and is obviously still around by September, I doubt that it would be a case the convention center or any convention center would, number one, say that it's ready, that we're ready to have people. Number two, from a safe point of, as you said, social distancing, allow New York Comic Con or anything to just take place. So it's sad times.
I mean, that's my industry, live events, and we're definitely wondering when we're going to be allowed to come back, how we can safely come back. There's just there's so many questions. I mean, we talk about work and social distancing, and there's certain things that I don't think you can do a Comic-Con with social distancing.
No,
that's not the point. The point is to have a bunch of people together and to be doing the cosplay and doing the gaming and shopping and packing these panels and seeing all these artists and all these actors and the premieres for the movies and the TV shows, and you can't do it. I mean, would it be fun if everyone's walking around with a mask and it's at 25% capacity? Like, what's the energy going to be?
Yeah, exactly.
For that, like, it's not going to be good. So, I mean, we'll see if it actually runs, but hopefully everything will get resolved, and we'll be back in 2021. Hopefully, Kabam's doing well. All the content creators are doing well. MCOC's still doing well. MROC is successful. And,
and that's something
we can really
talk about, isn't it?
Have a good time.
Yeah, and we want to do this kind of like live podcast where it's myself and Dan, and we're kind of like we'll then bring people on. We'll then kind of like find a place to go like we'll do maybe even like daily stuff, and it might be a kind of thing that we get a like an Airbnb, and then it's a case like, well, it's like it's business, but also at the same time, we're able to enjoy it, where we're just like on a daily basis reporting on stuff, and then obviously covering what we've seen for the day. I don't know what
we had some really cool plans, and had already been talking to other people about ideas, and Comic-Con is just so much fun. The Comic-Con itself is awesome. And just being around everybody, all these people that you talk to. I mean, I talk to you all the time.
Yeah.
Lots of other creators.
But one of the biggest issues, obviously, of not having Kabam at New York Comic Con is not really, as well as other Marvel games, is not having that big promotion. Because we would be technically, I think if June is anything to go by and we do get Marvel Realm of Champions, then they won't be able to promote at such a massive event. Like, do you think it's going to massively affect them if they're not able to do that?
Has to, right? I mean, I'm not saying you can't overcome it, but you're talking about the biggest marketing platform you have being gone. Like the one time that you have all your content creators in one place.
Yeah.
Losing that opportunity to talk to everyone, to do interviews. There's just every year, I feel like October and into November, that's like the high point for the game and the community, because there's just so much interaction between Kabam and the content creators, and that's very positive.
Yeah.
And we always get feedback. I'm sure you get it too from your subs, is like, oh, like I wish they would talk to us like they do at Comic-Con the whole year round. So we're gonna miss that. And you're talking about launching a new game during a pandemic and losing a big piece of your marketing push. That's going to be really, really hard for them. So it's going to be interesting to see how they address it. I'm sure that they're having high-level conversations about how they do it, and we've been teased a little bit that what's coming next in MCOC, more information on Realm. Looks like next month is going to be Pyramid X month. And they've also said next evolution of our live competition. So clearly they're starting to formulate some ideas about how to address this, but particularly where it comes to Realm. I really hope they've got something big in the bag planned to get the game out there, because it needs the hype. Yeah,
there's something with other Marvel games this year has been like just kind of a bit of a weird flop with it. I will come back on topic in a minute, but Marvel Avengers and Iron Man VR, two games that were pretty much ready to go, especially from what I saw at New York Comic Con for Marvel Avengers.
It looked like they were done.
Yeah, they were done, and it's like. Yeah. They then decided that they were going to delay, and this is now September, and it's like, well, you're not getting new. I bet they were like, oh, New York Comic Con is great. We'll be able to like really push when it comes to there, even though their booth was just like massive. I think it was about pretty much twice the size of Kabam's booth, and like that.
And Kabam's booth is big.
Yeah, and had this massive statue of Captain America with the shield and like it just looked completely done. They had like I think it was close to must be about 30 computers or like a combination of like consoles and computers running the game, and it was like so it was a done thing. Right. So losing that promotion of like New York Comic Con is mega, but it depends on like how well, because when Kabam had the booth, the Marvel Realm booth, you went in there and you went through, you choose your side and you signed up. But whether or not there was a huge amount of footfall to then gather that, you're right. They'd need to do some kind of like massive social media marketing. And I'd expect, at the moment, I don't know about you, I see lots of adverts for Marvel Strike Force.
Yes, I see that a lot. My son is really into Plants vs. Zombies right now, and I play that with him. And there are Strike Force ads in that game.
Wow!
And I'm seeing that. But I'm seeing that on a lot of different platforms. But they're pushing that game hard right now.
Yeah, and they kind of like did that for a long time. I don't know if well, Marvel Contest Champions haven't really had to, or Kabam haven't really had to hugely market the game. It's only been recently that they started delving into stuff like TikTok. So whether or not they'll use Marvel Realm promote it in TikTok is another thing. But just change the subject. Did you see Gabe's tweets, the ones where they had like Doctor Doom with hair, or a kind of as well, like a.
I am super interested. Anytime Gabe does anything with about guillotine, I'm super interested in that. So I know Clobberin' Time has been throwing out some theories about that, because apparently there's some tie-ins between the Doom lineage and the guillotine line, and the drawings look cool. So I'm interested to see what the next chapter of that is.
Yeah, I had this weird theory because I thought the sword looked different. Obviously, the fleur de la malle changes at times with the person who possesses it, but I thought it looked a bit Panther-like, and it was actually a version of like a Wakandan Doctor Doom, or like a female Doctor Doom. And I wondered whether or not it was that, but I haven't really going to delve too much. And there was a further image of like a change of color scheme with the hair that looked more like similar to Rogue's. So I don't know I think somebody said potentially we could be seeing a Latverian, if I've said that right, version, like a Latverian house in Marvel Realm of Champions, or it could be something to do with MCOC. Either way, it looks rather cool, and I think it'd be something we'd all love to see.
It is cool, and I guess I hadn't even thought about MCOC, but Guillotine seems like one of Gabe's babies, so it wouldn't surprise me for him to go in that direction with MCOC eventually. So
yeah,
I think that'd probably be later on down the line, because you want the big headliners when you're coming out. That's why it's Iron Man and Spider-Man and Apocalypse and Hulk and Thor. You got to start with the classics, and then they've been talking about like 50 houses eventually. So
God,
someone's gonna have to fill out that roster.
God, we're gonna have definitely a busy old podcast, because we'll have to figure out how we're gonna switch it into and covering different kind of the games. If there's going to be such like a rich tapestry, that's something that we're going to have to talk about. I'm
excited.
How we end up doing that, whether or not we kind of switch it off.
Yeah, well. That's the people will really want the timestamps then, because there's some people that don't like any MCOC in their MCOC.
No, that's true.
And we've seen that a lot this month. It's been interesting.
Yeah.
To see how that works. Some people seem to like it though. I like it. I like the story. As well. But I think if you're not as into the story, you're just like, who is this Storm variant?
Yeah, I think I've got a very difficult thing to kind of decide whether or not I create a new channel, which I have created a second channel, which I am toying with the idea of creating it solely for Marvel Realm of Champions. Or do I? Because the problem is, I want to cover Marvel Future Revolutions in the future, and as well Iron Man VR and the Marvel Avengers game. But I feel that if I go if Marvel Realm goes on to the Rich's Realm channel, which is the new channel, do I then take say that the other three games then go back, not go back, but they go onto the RichTheMan channel, which again will be something down to I think I'll throw out a vote, but it'll be a very important vote, so players and subscribers need to get involved with that one. In any case, enough about that. Let's move on to new stuff. Act 7, aka Book 2, Act 1, beta. And
it's coming close. It's coming much sooner than maybe we expected, right?
Yeah, I don't know how I feel. I mean, personally, I feel that it's a bit too soon with the gap where we're at the moment. If Act 6 in its whole was on its whole, and what am I talking about? I can't speak properly. As a whole, not in its whole. Where's my mind? Where's my brain going? As a whole, if Act 6 as a whole was a lot more, I don't know, unforgiving in places when it comes to the champion fight, the gating system, a little bit of difficulty with the stacking of nodes and trying to find the right champion, and without having to go the muscling through. Although I'm finding Act 6.4 better ish than the other stuff. Is it too soon? I personally feel it is, but I don't know. What do you think?
it's tough, right? Because you don't want the high end players with no story content, and
Yeah,
a
that's
lot
a
of
good
them
point.
blitz through it, and there's just no way to slow those folks down.
No, absolutely.
So now with a May beta, that probably means a July release at the earliest. So not right away, but certainly a lot less of a gap between Act 6 and Act 7 than was between Act 5 and Act 6.
True.
So yeah, it's interesting. Does this mean that variants have been sidelined while they work on book 2? I hope not, but
hope
it
not as
kind of
well.
looks that way because we're not getting a variant next month.
Oh yeah, that
So
completely slipped my mind as well. Not another variant.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, I know, and we've been talking about how we've wanted Variant 5 for a few months now, and it's not in the release notes for May, so we're going to be waiting a little bit longer.
Yeah. Well, that's a bit disappointing
Unfortunately.
then. Because I'm like, for me,
especially where it's Venom and Guillotine.
yeah, that combination. Imagine some like helpful nodes for those two champions, busting out a Venom and a Guillotine. Two champions actually I quite enjoy. I saw you you were taking on Deadpool using Guillotine. What was that?
Yes.
What was that fight? Was that 6.2 fight, or was that a?
That was 6.2.3. That was the Icarus buffet Deadpool.
Nice.
So he's got about 175,000 health. When I parried him to kill him, I think I took about 50% of his health in one parry, because the parry triggered the Fury buff, which triggered Buffet, which triggered the heal reversal. And it was nuts. It was great. So it was fun to go old school with the heal reversal, because Guillotine's so much fun. And it was the gate where I needed 3 6-stars anyway.
Yeah.
And I have a 6-star Guillotine, so I was like, all right, let's have some fun.
Yeah. I like that. I think I've done that.
Yeah.
I want to say I've done that fine. I think I've got 2 more paths to do on 6.2.3, but that's another story for another day.
Yeah.
And obviously the story is going to be important when it comes to like this new. Well, I'm really kind of unsure like how Kabam are putting this, because obviously, as we know, we've just finished Act 6, which is part of the Elder Saga, which technically is finished. But Kabam have kind of gone with referring to, in the beta, calling it Act 7. I know obviously they've put like, Book 2 and blah, 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 blah. But obviously they don't want to reveal where that's going until must be further on. Because it wasn't the Elder Saga, it was only called the Elder Saga when we had Act 6 actually started.
Yeah, it sort of transitioned to that, because it really wasn't about the elders to begin with. It was really more, okay, you've got the Collector, and you're the Summoner, and you're going against Kang, and you're going against Thanos, and then the Maestro. It really didn't switch to being about the elders until the Grandmaster showed up.
Yeah, so it's going to be weird.
And then it was more about him and Karina and deposing the Collector. So we'll see now that, Karina's in charge where she's taking things.
Yeah, and obviously there's so many kind of rumors as to where the story's going to go, and if it goes in the same way as it will with this, and you never know where you're going to end up, because we could have
right.
Well, I know I've had like my guesses, which is I think it's Grieve at the end of all things, and I know that other people have said, oh well, it's I think it was the other MCC Gabe said, well, it looks like Grandmaster Prime. Is this something still to do with Entropy, which was teased ages ago?
Yeah.
So everything's still really up for like the story side of things. Difficulty wise, I obviously hazarding a guess here. May 4th is when we get an idea of how difficult it is. Are you in the beta?
Beta.
All right. Okay. So
are you in the beta?
I am in the beta. Yeah. So
a lot of people are in the beta.
Yeah, that was the main thing, wasn't it? There was a lot of criticism based on experience in game, skill level, and actually of 100%ing, not 100%, well, kind of 100%ing an initial clear 6.4. I mean, me personally, I get it. I do feel that I'm close to getting the initial clear, which won't be until May 4th. But yeah, part of me is conflicted, because I do feel maybe I shouldn't have been put in it, but at the same time I think I will be there at the time. What do you think about it, Dan?
I think I think they just wanted a larger sample size.
Yeah.
And I think one of the reasons they want a larger sample size is because of how Act 6 went down, and it was a pretty bumpy road.
Yeah.
So I think they're probably looking at it as anyone who's 100%ed Act 6 is such a trooper, right? Like, they've just beaten through everything, like every roadblock at this point, and that just might not be enough people. They probably want some people to comment that, you know, either aren't all the way through it or are in the middle of it, because they want some feedback about, it's like, well, why aren't you all the way through Act 6? There's probably some stuff in Act 6 that you don't like that's keeping you from getting through it, and maybe we don't want to put that in Act 7, and we need to hear that, because there's perspective, right? Like, what's hard for me might not be hard for you. What's not hard for Metal Sonic Dude is hard for everybody else. It's, you know what I mean? Like, it's all about the perspective, right?
Yeah, no, that's true.
So I think they just needed. They probably looked at the data and said it's not a big enough sample size. I mean, if you look at, do you think your average Gold 1 player, Gold 2 player, which is an everyday player, probably spends at least some money at some point. Those are an important part of the core, and there's a lot of players at that level, and I think they just wanted to expand it to listen to that. So I don't think there's any harm in getting more perspectives here.
No, that's a good point. They need to get as much data as possible. They need to, even if you're like, you've recently become uncollected. In this case, like, what's the limitations of roster? Will there be any limitations? Are there kind of understandings that one player might have that another would? Everybody knows more than everybody else. A lot of times, I can put out a video and say, oh, try this, this, and this. But it's a case of like, there's 160 champions in game. I'm trying to put a video that kind of focuses on about 40, but look, there's another 120 I've not considered that somebody else may go, oh, well, they've got this idea. Then, a further 30 plus people come up with other little ideas, things I hadn't considered. So that's the thing, isn't it? Like, Kabam want a bigger target audience to gather information, because we are the experts, unfortunately. So we find out stuff like the Morningstar interactions, the bugs, and other stuff are bugs as well. So that's obviously how they want to look at it. So I do see that point. So one of the other big things this week, which kind of ended our week, or ended the kind of progression of this month even, is the sticky key. Something that was alluded to at the start of the month and was a very confusing yet a little bit trollish. And that sticky key opened up an extra path in the Baron's War for this week, and meant that you had to take down the boss for 3 times in each individual difficulty rather than 2. I don't know what to make of this. I was kind of, and this also went out an hour. So me and you are both Apocalypse, aren't we?
Yes. We got it at the correct time.
Yeah, but people got it, and I got the other one an hour earlier.
But they only got the week 4 event, so it didn't trigger anything as far as the Halls of Fortune. So they completed they went through the gate, they freed Deadpool, and then nothing happened. So they thought there was nothing there. They're like, they just thought it was a troll.
Yeah. So
people were already confused about this event as it was. And then with that little snafu, the resources from the Baron's War event have been great overall, but people have been so confused about it. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it landed with a lot of the community very well.
Somebody got in contact with me and said, why did I not receive a full tier 5 basic? And I went, what do you mean you receive a full tier 5 basic? Oh, but I get times 4 after this. I went, no, the times 4 is the 4 weeks of the Baron's War run. That's it. And then it had to be explained about it. They understood. But yeah, there's some people like, well, less of like I thought I was going to get more, and maybe they thought that if they stayed loyal they'd get more than they did, but
right, yeah.
But apart from that,
it was so much confusion.
Yeah, I think we'll just focus the next month, and hopefully this whatever it is, this rifts thing
and dimensional chronometers will be a little easier to understand. But yeah, the sticky key thing, it was a lot of mystery for just the halls of fortune.
Yeah,
I'll say that.
It was quite funny because I think people took to the forums very quickly, and I thought, well, it's probably important to gather as much information as possible, because I was like, oh, someone sent me on Twitter, oh, what's a sticky key? Oh, I'm just like, whoa, lots of quick information that I had not got this event. And then people took to the forum. I said to Kabam, Mike, I even sent message to Mike as well and said, well, what's going on? Why is this released an hour earlier? And what's this all about? But on the forums, he didn't respond to me. But, it's not that we've got some kind of rivalry going. Anyway, on the forums, someone said, Mike, what's the score with this? What's going on? And can you tell us more? And he just sent back a picture of, I think it was like, was it Roger Rabbit? Was it Roger Rabbit? It was Bugs Bunny. That's it. Sorry, similar. Bugs Bunny going, no. And I was like, okay, that's helpful, isn't it? It's just like, he could have said, oh, wait until 10 a.m. PST time and you'll find out more info. It was just, no. Like, all right, nice. Someone's having a bad day or a good day. I don't know. If Mike's kind of sassing people, I think that's a good day or a bad day. One of the two.
I think it's a good day for him.
It's a good day for him, yeah. Very enjoyable. But yeah, he was I have this really weird kind of out there theory is that Kabam decided, because of stuff going on obviously with April 1st is where a lot of the situation with the pandemic started off. Did they decide to then change when they were going to do the sticky key, and maybe it was meant to be at the start of the month, but maybe thought it wasn't in good taste to do a April Fool's, so therefore we'll leave it to the end of the month. Either way, I don't think it landed, if it was going to be the first or the end of the month.
Yeah, no, probably not. I think people when you have people guessing about what something is for an entire month, it's going to build hype and curiosity. So when it's just like, oh yeah, it's this thing that we've seen before, it's just not as exciting.
Yeah, it made even worse when if players didn't want to take on certain fights. Like, I don't think a lot of I think a good chunk of people didn't enjoy facing off against Sorcerer Supreme.
That was a tough fight.
That was a tough fight.
I watched your video on that this morning, and was Archangel the best?
Yeah,
you could do.
I think like debuff was debuff all the way, and then just avoiding L1s and L2s as best as you could. Warlock could have been was another option. I think players were using stuff like Void, but rather than kind of going right, I had to edit down the video because it was about 20 minutes long, so I chopped out using Rhino, Night Thrasher, and a couple of other kind of unstoppable champions, because I thought, okay, well let's play it at Kabam's game.
Let's lean into the can't stop, won't stop.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I did. I got her down with 22 hits with my 6-star Kingpin.
See, that's the other way of going. Kingpin would have been a good option for that.
He ended up being it was kind of a cool interaction Kingpin synergy team there. I don't know how practical it was, but it was one of those things where that's such a tough combination, right? To give a champion like Sorcerer Supreme, who can power gain, spam specials, and has access to a slow debuff, which she could just place on you.
Yeah.
And she just gets more powerful the more specials she throws. So she's on can't stop, won't stop, and she can stop your unstoppable. Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah,
that is a rough fight, because you didn't even have that many hit points, but you couldn't do anything.
It was a bit of a weird one. I think it wasn't the most ideal end to the month Kabam should have had.
I don't know. I mean, I like it when the fight is a puzzle to solve, and I tried to take that into consideration. I was like, all right, well, maybe there's some cheese that we're missing.
Yeah,
and I was trying to spend some time finding that, but it seems for most people they're just like, yeah, I'm just gonna bash my head against the wall until she dies. you know.
Yeah.
or like I was actually having an okay time with Guillotine, trying to heal reverse some of her heal gain, and like you said, Void, Archangel, go with the debuff champs. But yeah, it's definitely, it feels like that fight didn't land. So between like the timing errors, that fight not being popular, and then the Halls of Healing or Halls of Fortune at the end of the day being a little underwhelming, it was kind of a lame end to the month for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think it comes about at the wrong time with the stuff with Morningstar and just the general. The problem is,
yeah,
with a lot of people like locked in at the moment and stuff, maybe like and one thing that we're going to talk about in a second, just finish up round up the podcast is on the arena death matches and like Kabam. And well, everyone's locked down. The tensions are running high. It's kind of like stepping on eggshells, which it's not good. But like we've said, we'll be positive, and next month may be different if these riffs are kind of like completely spot on for the community. But yeah, let's kind of like finish on the final topic, and we'll briefly touch upon this because this will be more of a deep dive. And we've talked about we want to get speak to like Crafty Grinding and have him on the podcast to like talk about like arena stuff and like how he comes up with predictions and things like that. And that is the death matches.
Yeah, the 6-star rank 3s are running amok in arena, and people have to adjust.
Yeah.
So now, just for context, this has happened a bunch of times before. Every time there's a new highest level of champ in the game, the bar for where the death match is raises.
Yeah.
This is not a new issue. This is not something where Kabam goes in. It's like, all right, let's raise the bar in the death match. You know, the algorithm's already there, and once you have new inputs, that changes the formula and how it's computed. So I don't know. Have you been death matched, or are you playing it safe?
I haven't actually been grinding much arena. I've been doing milestones to gather some stuff, but this weekend I need to get back into it to kind of like do a lot more arena. As I need to get more units. I'm going to be trying to get some more shards as well, as obviously these fantastic weekly events are not going to be there forever, so I need to gather shards through other means. But I have been seeing so many images on Twitter from players where they've obviously been interacting with these death matches. It used to be for me, how I'd identify this was I would never go below a rank 2 5-star, and if I did want to change up the team, I used to kind of like change the combinations to be like I'd have 1 5-star at the lowest would be rank 2, but I'd put in 1 or 2 4-stars at 550. And obviously this is the reason that I know so many people have asked about this, an infinite streak guide, and obviously from my perspective, I don't want to give out false information to subscribers or the community if I haven't thoroughly tested it myself. So I would do it.
This is always a fluid situation with arena. That's why people are always asking, because it changes.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's sad that we have to kind of nothing's constant with MCOC. I'd love to say it would be, and saying okay, like use Morningstar against the champion. No,
but you know, and this also touches on another issue. This is why it's actually good that 6 stars aren't in the tier 4 basic and tier 1 alpha arenas.
Oh yeah, so that's something that does stay a constant. That's good.
Those arenas are capped, right? Like the 4-star arena, the 4-star basic arena, that one's capped. The catalyst arenas, those are capped because those don't have 6 stars. You know, at some point when we are able to put in rosters of 3 rank 5 6 stars because we've grinded out all the tier 6 basics and tier 3 alphas. Like it is eventually going to finalize, and there will be a final formula. We're just in 2024.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. obviously we're gonna like deep dive this a lot more, but you know, we want to try and put that in with craft to grinding, so that's something for a later edition. So that has been it. Dan, what are you up to? Obviously this is going out Sunday. What are you going to be up to next week?
I've just 100%ed Act 6.2.3, so I am working on my guide, and I'm going to be releasing that next week. And I've been releasing some videos highlighting some of my fights and interactions. I've done one with Killmonger, one with Guillotine that you referenced earlier, and then I've got one. Have you done the Darkhawk fight yet in 6.2.3?
Let's have I can check now whilst we're on.
Probably remember that's the one where Darkhawk is unblockable in null mode for like 20 seconds at the.
I really hope that I have done it. I'm just going to quickly check.
You're like,
check now, because I'm like, no.
It's on the Cosmic Gate path. Have you done it?
It's loading now. Cosmic. Yeah, I have done that one.
All right, yeah. So I'm gonna break down that one, and also the Kang before it is an all or nothing. So I want to show folks how you can take an all or nothing node with Killmonger, because I've just had so much fun playing Killmonger, and other than that, just the normal stuff, the week ahead news, and looking forward to all the new content that May will bring us.
Yeah, I think that's probably the same thing I'm gonna do, is just focus on next week. I get all my crystal openings done. Try and get my initial clear of 6.4 hashed out over next week. So that's why I need to go really kind of intensive grind on the arena this weekend. And then hopefully that's done. Do a video, and then just kind of then look forward to the beta and podcast next week. So there's lots of fun stuff on offer.
Plan, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, so there we go. Thank you, Dan. Make sure to check out, obviously, everything from Frontline MCOC down in the descriptions and the bio. That'll be the website, which you should bookmark, by the way, and as well check out Dan on Twitter for updates and guides and other information surrounding the game. Obviously, this has been the Contest Round podcast, and we'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.